Today I want to talk about intrinsic meaning of practice. What does practice mean? Practice means to make a progress. If you're not making any progress, you're just spending time, hours and hours at the piano, it's a complete waste. You make sure that you practice until you can play fluently. It doesn't have to be a whole page, maybe just one line or just 2 lines. You make sure that you don't get up from chair until you can play fluently. If you keep stopping because you're running out of time, whatever the time span you had is complete waste. You just been making mistake and you just been practicing the mistakes. Because the students believe that because they spend hours and hours at the piano, they believe they practice. But basically, you just been practicing the mistake because you didn't practice until you can play fluently. You see? So how are you able to play fluently when you never try until you can play fluently? You never practice until you can play fluently. How can you ever play fluently? Spending hours and hours practicing the mistakes is not gonna make you to play fluently. You see what I mean? So you have to understand what really practice means. So you make sure even if you play only one line, you don't get off from chair until you can play fluently. You make sure that you make no mistakes in that phrase. You know the notes, you know the fingerings. You can play everything perfectly. And also some students believe that they always need to learn notes first and the rhythms later. But remember, that's completely wrong. If you focus on the notes and play in the wrong rhythm, you will have to spend a lot more time fixing the mistakes later. So please do not waste your time. Even if you work on a smaller section, you make sure you learn notes and then the rhythms at the same time. It's not separable. You make sure that you learn how to count and learn how to read at the same time. Don't think that, oh, I need to learn notes first and then I'll work out the rhythms later. That is not gonna work. So if you wanna spend time wisely, if you wanna learn fast, you have to learn notes and rhythms at the same time. So it doesn't have to be the whole page. You might wanna work on a smaller section, but you take time to learn notes and then the rhythms at the same time. All right, so you always need to remember how much you're gonna practice each session. Your goal is to practice maybe first line. Before you get up, you make sure you know how to play the notes and then the rhythms fluently. That is what you need to make sure before you get up. And remember, if you stop and you keep making mistake, whatever the time span you had is a complete waste. So you make sure that you don't get up from chair until you can play at least the notes and then the rhythms fluently.